Hi, John from Jones here, and thank you for joining us. Today I'm going to be talking about the three wines that make up our Spring is Here flight, and I'm going to do each one at a time, starting with the Woodlands White. And after the Woodlands White, we're going to give you a chance to pause your device and take the time to enjoy the wine until you're finished, and then you can move on to the next one, and we'll talk about them in each order so you can take your time and enjoy the day and just watch it at your leisure. So we're going to start with the very first wine, and this is a Woodlands White, and this is actually the very first wine that was released by the Jones family in 2004. And it's an off-dry wine, as these two are. They have just a little bit of sweetness to them. They're not super dry. They're pleasantly sweet, but they're not overly sweet. They're not dessert-style sweetness, and they make a nice accompaniment for many foods. This one is a blend of Seyval Blanc and Cayuga and Vidal Blanc. And those are hybrid grapes that were developed where they crossed one species of grapes with another species. And nature does that all the time. So there's no genetic messing around. It's none of that kind of stuff. It's the grapes were crossed the way nature does it, by the pollen from one getting onto another flower. And it's a wine that you want to take your time with, give it a swirl, and start thinking of the fruits. Quite often in white wines, you're almost always going to get some sort of citrus. You may get orchard fruits. You may get like peaches, nectarines, pears, apples. And you get a combination of that with this wine. When you take a first taste, I always just prime my mouth. If I just had a cup of coffee or something, now I'm having wine. The coffee would interfere with the flavors. And then I'll take my real taste and move the wine all over my mouth, because we do have taste receptors that are not only on your tongue but the back of your throat, and you really will get more information about the wine from that. And as you taste it, you will notice a little bit of sweetness there, but not a lot of sweetness. And many people, this reminds them of an off-dry Riesling, and it can have those characteristics. So as you're tasting, you start thinking of foods. All of these off-dry wines are really, really good with spicy foods. Spicy foods sometimes would really kill a dry wine, but with a wine that has a little bit of sugar, they make a nice pairing. So think of some Asian foods, Thai foods, even some Mexican foods. But you could have it with light chicken dishes, some seafoods, and it's a wine that is very, very versatile. So enjoy your taste, take your time, and when you're ready, come back and we'll try wine number two. Welcome back. We're on to wine number two in the blue bottle, and this is Sunshine White. This is really like sunshine in a glass. There's four different grapes that make this up. There's, again, the hybrid grapes. There's one that's a cross between Riesling and Cayuga, and they never really named it. It's called NY81, and then it goes on with different numbers. And that's one of them. Then there's Cayuga, Seyval, Vidal Blanc, and it's a nice, light to medium-bodied wine. But when you taste this, you're going to say, man, that's easy drinking. It really goes down so easy. It's a great wine for the porch, the patio, on the deck, and to have before or with your meals. So as usual, give it the small. Give it a swirl to get the aromas up out of the glass. And you may start getting some of those citrus and honeydews and all sorts of different aromas. You take your taste. Might even get some pineapple, again, citrus. Sometimes they get a little green apple, but it kind of says, have another sip. It's that kind of wine. It's so easy to drink, and it tastes so good, nicely chilled on a warm day. But again, this would hold up to some lighter foods. I would have this with a lighter chicken dish or a light shrimp dish, a lighter cheeses. It's really great on its own. You don't need to have food with this, but it does complement food quite well. So over the summer, when it's kind of a hot day and things are you're getting a little steamed up, sit on the porch with this and enjoy it. And you'll say, Connecticut grows some pretty good grapes here. So enjoy, and we'll see you for the third wine in just a moment. Okay, on to the final wine of the flight. and that's the Whimsical White. And this is a sparkler. And I've poured this blind to guests that I've had, and everyone thought it was Prosecco. And then when you say, no, it's here from Connecticut, it's not from Italy, and oh, I'm surprised. But you may find some similarities in this. The sparkling, the carbonation level is not as high as in some full-on sparkling Proseccos or champagnes. And the French have the Italians have a term for this called frizzante, meaning lightly sparkling, and that's the style that this is in. There are Proseccos in that style also. So again, give it a swirl, give it a sniff, and you start thinking about what you're tasting. You get some jasmine, some honeysuckle, but there's also a lot of stone or orchard fruits in there. You may get some nectarine and peach, and again, citrus is a common one. As you taste, you can see that it's sparkling, but it's not full-on sparkling. It's just a nice carbonation to it. And because of that carbonation, when you open one of these up, remember, don't point it towards anybody, don't point it to your face. Be very careful about getting the top off there, because the pressure in there will eject that cork. So again, thinking about what I would have this with, you could just have this for a toast, which is fine. Here in America, we think sparkling wines should only be opened if it's somebody's birthday or somebody gets married, but many other parts of the world, Italy in particular, you get out of work, you have a little Prosecco, so similar here. But it really is a great wine, believe it or not, with fried foods. Try this with fried chicken or some fried shrimp. The bubbles cut through that. And as you're tasting this, you probably notice it's not super dry. It's not as dry as a Brut champagne or a Brut Prosecco. And that's what makes it appealing, and it makes it so easy to drink. But try it with some different foods, and the fried foods are, in particular, for me, a great match. But again, you could have this throughout the entire, you could have a little toast with it before, have it with some appetizers, and then go on and finish the meals with it, with some lighter things, with chicken dishes or some seafood dishes. But no matter what, the bubbles just make it more of a party. So enjoy, and thank you for stopping by and supporting your local farmers, and enjoy the rest of the day. Cheers.